MMA fans are always hungry for some nail-biting excitement as two reigning champions duke it out in the ring, all the while offering some box office entertainment. Well, they're in luck because that's exactly what's about to happen. Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather are set for a huge rematch, setting the stage for the sport's biggest crossover event for the second time. In today's video, we'll be going over all the deets of the epic matchup. So, let's get into it. McGregor and Mayweather are not facing off for the first time. McGregor and Mayweather need little introduction. They're both undisputed champs of their fields, with McGregor dominating the UFC and Mayweather grabbing 15 world titles for himself in the boxing ring. They may be from different sports, but the duo faced off against one another in a crossover fight, a first of its kind, back in 2017. McGregor was the one to make a switch to the squared circle. The event ended up getting huge traction, which was a given since the competitors were going off on flamboyant press tours. McGregor managed to generate considerable hype for the fight with his trash-talking and colorful personality. After months of build-up, the two faced off at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Both of these gentlemen stepped into the ring with something to prove. McGregor had to prove to everyone why he was the UFC lightweight champion, and Mayweather had to keep his undefeated record of 49 victories. As the starting bell sounded, it was McGregor dominating the ring, but as the night steered on, Mayweather bounced back from his slow start. A formidable comeback indeed. The champ didn't even wait for the final fight. With his barrage of punches, it was lights out for Conor. The event was a success. They called it the biggest combat sports fight in history and the money fight. And while you'd think it was all a ruse to sell out tickets and get viewers to tune in, the event was delivered. After all, it was able to rank as the second highest purchased pay-per-view in fighting history. That's what you get when you put two of the best combat sportsmen in the ring together. Interestingly, the first highest purchased pay-per-view ranking rests with Mayweather's showdown with Manny Pacquiao. More than 4 million bought the pay-per-view to watch Mayweather take a piss out of McGregor. The overall fight generated $600 million, and of course, that meant an exorbitant payday for the sportsman in the ring. McGregor walked away with his pocket $130 million heavier, while Mayweather, as the victor, made even more with a paycheck of $265 million. And so, they're coming back for a rematch. All in all, everyone will agree that the bout was a roaring success. It was a night to remember, and there's no reason why we can't experience it all again. After the fight, Floyd retired in 2017. He had retired in 2015 before, but picked his boxing gloves for a payday against the MMA star. As far as Conor is concerned, fate has been less kind to him, as in 2021, he sustained a fracture to his tibia in a fight against Dustin Poirier. The Irishman has been out of action since then, but he's planning to make a comeback, and we think he has an idea on how to put himself back in the spotlight. According to reports from Fight Hype, the pair has been talking about a rematch. McGregor is on board for redeeming himself against the pretty boy. As for the six-time winner of the Best Fighter ESPY Award, he's all ready to take the ring one more time to show everyone just why the Boxing Writers Association of America deemed him the fighter of the decade. So, how sure is the fight? According to recent reports, the deal's almost done and closed. All that's left is for the rules to be determined. One source told The Sun that Conor would only step in the ring if Floyd is game to put his professional record on the line, or he can kiss the rematch bye-bye. What's more, the fight will be official and will be at 155 pounds. Mayweather thinks it's going to be the biggest night boxing has ever seen. There's going to be a lot on the line, and people better gear up because it's going to be a fight for the ages. However, we don't really know if Mayweather would be willing to risk his perfect professional record of 50-0. On that note, we don't know anything about how many rounds we'll be looking at as arguments are still going on, but according to the source, Conor's team would like to go with 10 rounds. Hopefully, all the details will be revealed in due time, and fans can settle into the excitement of it all until then. Except, Dana White has other plans. And just as fans were gearing up to celebrate the news, Dana White, the man overseeing it all, decided to rein in on everyone's parade. As disappointing as it is, the president of the Ultimate Fighting Championship has zero interest in a rematch between Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather. It's almost shocking to find out that Dana doesn't want to revive the most lucrative event in combat sports history. While appearing on CBS Sports for an interview, White's host brought up the talks concerning the rematch between the two champs. However, Dana was quick to cut him off and make it clear that he wasn't the one talking. He also took the opportunity to clear up that the Irishman's rerun would be in the octagon, not in a boxing ring. He also added that he would need to go through dementia to make the fight. Well, that's a bummer. Dana further clarified that the Irishman might be receiving offers from all kinds of movies and other things, but there's only one thing he wants to do, and it's to fight. Still, Conor is all too happy at the prospect of picking up his 12-ounce gloves one more time. In an interview with Sky Sports back in May, he revealed that boxing is his first love in combat sports. He had a fantastic time the last last time he was out there. And even though he's returning to the octagon, the chances of him being in that squared circle again are not out of the window just yet. With that said, there's no reason to abandon hope at the moment. As long as McGregor and Mayweather are interested in recreating the iconic fight, they might just find a way to convince Dana. And now, in other news. First up, Dana White has some advice for Jake Paul. Jake Paul just had his fight with Hasim Rahman Jr. canceled. Paul broke the news on the night of July 30th, Saturday, where he revealed to the community that Rahman Jr. had apparently refused to cut any weight from his 215-pound frame. The bout had been contracted at the cruiserweight limit of 200 pounds, but was later bumped to 205 pounds. Paul further added that the real reason Rahman Jr. backed out was that he was afraid of taking on the former Vine star. Of course, that's a serious accusation in the world of MMA fighting, and Rahman Jr. couldn't let Jake run around spewing lies about him. So he questioned back why he wasn't given the final week of his camp to shed as much weight as possible. And while the YouTuber turned MMA fighter has his own explanations as to why the fight was called for, Dana White has an opinion or two himself. He took the opportunity to address the situation after Amanda Nunes had won back her bantamweight title from Juliana Pena at UFC 277. He kinda laid the entire blame on Paul's manager Nikisa Badarian, who, if you didn't know, was previously working as the UFC's chief financial officer. He said that just because Badarian worked as an accountant, that doesn't mean he has any clue on how to run a fight promotion company. With that said, Jake needs to look into getting some different people around him, because if he wants a future in this sport, he needs to be with guys who actually know a thing or two. And lastly, Amanda Nunes thinks Dana is right with his criticism. Back in December 2019, UFC 269 saw history as Nunes lost her bantamweight title to Juliana Pena, owing to an unexpected second-round rear-naked choke submission. It was certainly a shocker because the Lioness was completely dominating the Venezuelan vixen in the first round, but the second round was a completely different story. And while many have expressed their views on the historical defeat, UFC President Dana White, like always, shares the most controversial. He said that Nunes is no longer the same human savage she was before she reigned champion in the ring. And while many in the community slammed Dana for insulting the Lioness, Nunes was more than happy to listen to his critique. She admitted that Dana was right with his assumption. Amanda had, in fact, slowed down. She decided to rest a little, and that cost her title in the ring. But she's fired up again and ready to take it all back. It turns out she really meant what she said, because she got back her bantamweight title at UFC 277 in Dallas, Texas on July 30th. Guess listening to Dana paid off. Alright, that's a wrap for this video. Do you think a McGregor and Mayweather comeback fight is in the cards, or are we all daydreaming here? Let us know all your thoughts in the comment section below. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to our channel for more videos. Bye now.